Hello folks, Reverend Crystal Cox here. Just gonna have a little chat. Okay, so I'm working on removing every trigger, every program. I have been for years. I listen to really profound spiritual information and I go, wow, and I really get it. And I practice it and then I forget it. Or I already got layers, right? I got layers and layers and layers and more layers. So we're just going to do a little bit of reminder here. Yeah. Talk about a few things. Okay, emotional mastery. So we're here on earth to learn emotional mastery. Okay, it doesn't matter what happens to us. Okay? Can you see how cold it is out there? You see all the snow and whatnot? All right, well, let's close that a little bit. Okay, we're here to gather experiences on Mother Earth. Okay, so think about a really good meal you've had. Okay, I was thinking the other day about some really good steak and just this taste, I could smell, and then Spirit reminded me or told me to consider. I didn't think about the 100 steaks I probably had in my whole life that I didn't like, right? I bring up the one I did like. And so that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. Okay. We are here to collect experiences and we're going to create those in our new matrix, our new world that we create, that is what we prefer, where we are sovereign and we are really making our own choices, where we're not controlled by ridiculous, illogical leaders, authorities, or we don't need militaries, we don't need governments of man, we don't need their fake medicine and their fake system at all. Okay, the real world is what you project to be your real world for you. Okay, so in mastering emotions, we don't necessarily need to go out among people. We don't need to go to therapy and restore it, blah 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 blah. What we need to do is every single second of every day we monitor our own thoughts and we get better and better at controlling our own thoughts and mastering our emotions. We get better and better at identifying what must I believe in order to feel this way. I mean, okay, I'm really sad about whatever, or I'm worried or freaked out about, well, what must I believe to feel that way? And when we identify the belief, it's magic. It dissipates. And because we're like, wow, that doesn't make logical sense. And why would I believe that? I don't believe that. So it was in your ancestry line. It was a program you were running. You didn't really even believe it. So you identify your belief and it evaporates. Does that mean all is well and it never comes up again? No, because we got layer and layer and layer. However, if you still have those people in your life that taught you those beliefs or their ancestry lines in it and they're in denial, you're constantly being poisoned. Okay, so it's pretty hard to cure yourself of a detox from poison if you're taking it every day. Okay, so emotional mastery. Okay, perfecting every trigger and every program. And how we do that is we identify what the trigger and program is. Okay, every thought. Okay, I just spent years just breathing in and out in my own private little temple. Okay, and every single emotion, let it come up and go into it. Okay, it can be traumatic. You feel it somewhere in your body. So just say, okay, just see where it's at in the body. Just look at it and don't put a story to it. Don't feed it. I love that saying of that a bird can land on your nest. Sorry, I just noticed something that fell down and I got a little distracted. No, a bird can land on your porch, but you don't have to let it build a nest, right? Thoughts can come in, they can flow and ebb and flow. You may not be able to control what just randomly comes to you, but you can control whether you feed that thought, okay? Or whether you beat yourself up, okay? If it doesn't feel good, if you're attacking yourself and you feel bad, that thought's out of alignment, okay? Because real advice from your guides and your spiritual center won't feel bad, okay? When you feel bad, sad, an emotion that doesn't feel good, you are out of alignment with your truth. Okay, you're trying to please other people's version of you, and you're not really in your own truth. Okay, so we are gathering experiences, and if we didn't know, like, I use the example with people like say you only knew about cauliflower, right? Okay, so maybe cauliflower and burger or something. You only got two things on the menu forever. You never try anything else because you're afraid you'll like it, because you know you like these two things. So you never get anything else on the menu, okay? You're gonna taste a lot of foods that you go, ugh, right? Before you find more and more and more foods that you like. We're doing the same thing here with experiences, okay? We're finding more and more experiences that we like by also finding ones we don't like. Okay? If you are just consciousness, right, and you don't have this earth experience, you don't really know what humans feel here. You don't know what it's like to be here and feel what they feel. You're looking at it from the other side of the veil going, this doesn't logically make sense. There's nothing about it that makes sense. But when you're in it with human emotions and human programs, you can see, and you can also drown in it and get lost in it. And you can't necessarily convey that to your guides and stuff on the other side, okay? But those things are what makes us human, and we're experiencing things to find out what we like. And so when we cross over, we create our own planet, we create our own what we're going to live forever, because we always are. We don't die. There's no such thing as death. Consciousness always is. Okay? Who you know yourself to be always is. Okay? When you cross over, yes, you're with the all, you're with the I am, but you are unique. No other being has the perspective and experience that you have. Okay? And you carry that with you. So it really pays off to perfect your thinking, your consciousness, because you take that with you. I've been doing so much work in dream time. It's been really awesome, because like Spirit's teaching me stuff, and I'll have this method of teaching, and then I'll go into my dream and I'll be teaching it. Okay? And I'm not so much lucid dreaming. I'm working on trying to lucid dream more so that I can astral travel at will. And I used to do that, I think, in my 20s, but then you get some more density, you know. Anyway, so we're here gathering experiences so we know what we're going to create later. Okay, I don't know if you guys are into Star Trek. I wasn't really into Star Trek. I never watched many of them at all. But back in the 90s, I went to one movie because I had a friend that was into them. And I just remember William Shatner's character. See, he had died, I guess. And they went to go talk to him or whatever, wherever he was. I don't know. And he was in this cute little cabin. And he had a dog, and he had chopping wood. He had all these different things. So he had died, but he had created his cabin, right? Also, in studying the Pleiadian stuff in the 90s, it was about, well, where do you go when you die, right? Well, you go where you think you're going to go. So I set it up where I want to go, you know, my cabin on the lake, and I had this perfect visualization of where I want to go when I cross over. And I believe that I will, and that'll be where I'll transition to whatever I do. It's about controlling your own thoughts. Things don't just, well, yes, things randomly do happen to you because you set it up that way before you came to Earth to have experiences here. Okay, but at the same time, they're not really happening to you against your will. You chose to have these experiences or these potential experiences. All right, so let's just look at a couple things here. Okay, somewhere in your life, okay, your program, your DNA, you bought into those beliefs. Okay, so when you have low self-esteem or you have fear, you're like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that because someone will think I'm stupid or they won't like it or it won't be a success. First of all, what is your definition of success? Okay, it's probably someone else's version, okay? The definition really of success is peace of mind, sovereignty, being of your own free will, not trying to conform to anyone else's version of you, and being honest with yourself, even if you can't be honest with the other people around you, being honest 100% of the time with yourself. Be like, you know what? I didn't really want to go there. I didn't really want to do that, but I chose to do it. And you can do the tapping. I love and accept myself, even though I chose to go there and I didn't want to go. Because every time we do something we don't really, really want to do, we're creating that persona, we're creating that frequency, that energy field, and we're drawing more of that to us. Okay. And so you are worthy. And about, someone somewhere put inside your programming that you weren't worthy. Worthy of what? Of who? Okay. If the people that you have in mind all suddenly like you because you've changed you to be more like what they want you to be, even if you're miserable, okay, then there's going to be another batch of people that don't like that. And then another people that don't like that and that don't like them for not liking that. And, where does it end? Where do you stop pleasing others? And so you go, well, no, I'm not trying to please everybody. Just my mother and just my partner or just my father or the people that were already in the program that you're trying to impress somehow. So you bend and twist yourself into something you're not so that you can please them. And every time you do that, and I don't even care if it's over dinner, a gift, anything, when you do that, you create in your frequency field that you do like that and you do appreciate that in your life, and you're going to get more of it. Okay. And you're not going to be living a life that you prefer. Okay. Okay. So you wouldn't exist if you weren't worthy. If you weren't worthy, you're obviously a part of everything. Okay. You are. You're never not. Okay. And I'm going to assume there's no bots or background people or whatever listening to anything I put out there because, I know they're listening so they can download and try to come and get me and trick me like this, big game or this matrix or whatever we're in. So, okay. So a belief preventing you from the reality of who you prefer to be. What belief is preventing you from who you want to be? What reality that you really want to be living? Okay. And is it your belief? And sometimes it helps, like in spiritual stuff, I like to get an energy field and get all psychic and get all, but it really helps to kind of back it up to the basics, to 3D, and logically unwind it and have a conversation with yourself. Give yourself therapy. Give yourself spiritual counseling. Go, okay. Like I go, okay, Crystal, so your feelings got hurt from that. Okay. So what hurt your feelings? What is your belief around that? You have these conversations. We're always having conversations in our head anyway. Okay. Why are we letting the conversations in our head beat us up? If something's beating you up and you feel bad and nasty about it, you're like, oh, I gotta do better. I gotta be a better me. That's not your authentic true self. That's someone else's version of you that you're allowing to take precedence over your own version of you. Okay? All right. So your beliefs prevent you from the reality of who you really prefer to be. Okay. So some people say, well, okay, so I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on feeling more worthy. But the thing is that once you awaken, once you really have an epiphany and you really get something, okay, no matter what it is, any one of these beliefs, once you really get it, boom, you shift immediately. You all of a sudden shift into I am worthy, because you're always going to be not worthy to somebody. You're always going to have someone that you're not their preference, or someone that wants to bully you or vampire your energy or change you or control you so they're more comfortable with themselves and with you. Those people are always going to exist. What's not necessarily always going to exist is whether or not you let them determine your actions, your thoughts, what you create in your life. Okay. If you buckle because they laugh at you, okay, because someone you love laughed at you, well, would you really love them? You're just addicted to them, or they're your parents, or they're your siblings, or what? Just because you were born into a family doesn't mean you have to love them or be around them. Okay. If you feel bad around people, get away from them. They're not your people. Just because you chose to be born into a family so you could have certain DNA and certain parameters and certain experiences and certain lines you're cleansing doesn't mean you owe a loyalty to anybody in that bloodline. Okay. You owe a loyalty to your own preference to create the reality that feels best for you. And if you don't do that, that's fine. You're just going to suffer and torture and torment. And you're not going to draw to you the reality you want because you can't handle them not liking you. So say there's 200 people like you don't know that are really going to dislike you because you're into something that you're really truly into and love. Okay. You don't care. You don't even know they exist. But your mother or your lover or your sibling, well, I don't like you and I'm worried about you and they don't even know you anyway. The real you is inside your mind, okay? You're always the real you within yourself. Your relationship to other people, whether they're next to you or thousands of miles away, is always inside of you. Okay. And when you go, well, what about the people that are in the room or on the phone, or I can't tell people, no, stop texting me, stop on the radio, just get it. Okay. What about all those people? Okay. Well, they don't actually exist unless you make them exist. Oh, hi. Yep. You exist. Oh, you don't like what I do? Yeah. I'll be a better me. Oh, yeah. You don't like the clothes I wear? Okay. I'll change my clothes. Yep. Oh, my car? Yeah. You don't like it? Okay. Prefer a different color? Okay. Right? And people do that. Okay, they'll do whatever their mother wants because they can't handle the stress of saying, no, mother, you don't get to talk to me that way. You don't get to treat me that way. And I don't prefer you in my life because you're not healthy for me. So you don't have to be like, and I did it forever. Like I used to go to my dad's all the time, no matter what horrible evil thing he would say to me or about people I cared about, I'd still go and I try to please him and I try to be, all the time, no matter how much he put me down. And then one day I was done. And I was done. And I didn't see him for years. And then he died like a few years ago, and I didn't have nothing to do with that either. Okay, we do not have to have some guilty obligation so that we look good for society or we're pleasing somebody or, oh, well, I need to do it a certain way. You being your authentic self and being brave enough to be that true self is how you take leaps and bounds towards creating the reality you prefer. And one day, possibly even having peace and contentment. You never know. Okay, so when someone's saying, well, I'm going to work on it, okay, you don't have to work on it. And it goes for relationships too. If you have to work on the relationship, it's not of your highest and best good, period, okay? You don't even have to work on your relationship with yourself. What you have to practice is refocusing, honoring your true self, being honest with yourself, being courageous enough to be honest with others, even if they leave your life. This is how you create the reality you want. Okay, otherwise, you're going to constantly suffer. You're going to need constant stimulants and constant anti-anxiety medications and constant stuff in the system to make you okay because you don't have the courage to say, look, people, fuck off. Okay? Oh, but you don't want to burn the bridge. What if you need him? What if you need him? Hey, been there, okay? I've been to zero, okay? Nearly freezing to death, zero, okay? They're not there anyway. The only people that are there are the ones that you conjure up with your frequency and your belief. And those moments when I was scared to death that I would freeze to death, and I called out to the power of the living God, I had miracles walk right up to me and give me housing for a month to save my life. And they weren't friends, and they weren't family, and they weren't people I knew, and they're people I don't know today. They're not in my life. But they appeared as a messenger from the living God in that moment, sent by my frequency, walked right in like they had an appointment, and offered me a place to stay so that I didn't freeze to death. Okay? That is frequency. That is frequency that draws it in. When you finally let go of resistance and you cry out for help in the true frequency of what you really want, okay, and you're honest about it, okay, it's nothing to do with, you're like, oh, I don't want to burn this bridge or that bridge because what if I need them someday? I did that, okay, and I kept people in my life in case, what if I needed them? I got down to the what if I needed them. I got down to the moment where I nearly froze to death, where I nearly starved, okay? And they weren't there. They weren't there when I asked them for help. They weren't there when I begged them for help. But a stranger that came in just from the power of the living God, based on my own frequency, they were there. Because that's how it really works, okay? Okay, so there's no reason to work on it. When you decide you deserve it, you deserve it. There you go. You're worthy. Okay. All right, so why do we reject ourselves? Okay, why do we invalidate ourselves all the time? Okay? I wanted to say, well, there's plenty of people to reject us and invalidate us all the time anyway. We don't really need to do it to ourselves, right? So what if you're just nice to yourself all the time? What if you like to do what you like to do all the time? And I don't mean in a way, I know you're probably at this stage in your life a lot. We all go through it, where you're living a double life, right? You're like pleasing your lover, pleasing your partner. You're being a little phony. You're being a little real, whether it's family or whatever. And then you go and you do your own thing. Okay, so you'll go and have your own conversations with yourself. You'll go and live your real life by yourself because you can't be your honest 100% true self, your sovereign true self with your partner. Oh, I don't want to eat there. Oh, I don't want you to go to the graveyard with other people because they might comfort you and then I wouldn't be there. I don't want you to go to the movie. I don't want you to go out bowling because those ladies are going to put something in your mind, like my dad used to do all the time. Oh my gosh, where did you get that? Every time my mom would have some thought that she'd ponder, wherever she got it, where did you get that? Like, it can never be from her, right? It's always got to be outside of yourself. Okay, when you have someone that's jealous of anything you do, or someone that's just not really into and supportive of what you do, you tend to not. If you're two sovereign people, that's great, because no, you don't have to like what your partner likes. That's great, two sovereign, independent people. But when you're toxic and codependent, it's like, well, if you don't like it that I do this, I'm going to do less of it. I can do it if I want to. I choose not to. Well, baloney. Okay, you give up your passion, you give up your voice, you give up what you really want to do and be because you want them to be okay with you. Okay, you're never going to make them okay. It's never a good time to leave. They're never going to be full or sovereign or okay. All right. They're going to pretend they are because they're anchored and addicted in you. And meanwhile, you're miserable, but you're pretending you're happy because you enjoy some of it. Okay, that's not two sovereign individual people in a relationship. And that is a rejection of yourself every day. Okay, you reject maybe the place you want to go to eat. You want to go out, have a good meal. You want to travel to a certain place. You want to study a certain thing. You want to sing. You want to learn the piano. You want to learn the violin. You want to whatever you want to do. Okay, if your fear of your partner's rejection trumps what you really want to do, that's kind of like kidnapping, right? That's a prisoner. That's toxic. That's not healthy. Okay. It's hard enough with all the voices and the programs and everything we have in our ancestral line and from our childhood and whatever to allow ourselves to do what we want when we're alone because we have all those programs, let alone someone else that we're always on eggshells or we're like, it takes a lot to unwind that. It takes a lot of time alone, and it takes bravery to be honest. You want to sugarcoat things because you want them to be okay and you want them to like you. What? So you don't want to hide, like, say, for example, if you're a witch or into witchcraft stuff, you want to hide it from your family, right? You want them to be okay with you. But if you just said, look, I'm a witch, this is what I'm into. Some of them will fall away, some of them won't. But you hiding yourself all the time, whether it's being gay, whether it's being psychic, whether it's being a healer, whatever it is that's your true passion, if you're hiding it for someone else's disapproval, then you create more of that in your frequency, and then more comes to you that you're not into. Because you're like, no, I'm not into witchcraft. I'm not into pagan stuff. I'm not into healing. Herbal cures. No, I'm not into any of that. I think that's weird and voodoo. Yeah. And you're saying that and you're talking it so that your family will be okay with you or your partner. Then that's the life you're building for yourself. And that's the next step in the future you're building. You're not building a life that you actually prefer. So stop rejecting yourself. Okay. Why we choose, no pens. Okay. Why we choose not to our preferred vibration. We think that we're going to be okay. But we are going to be okay. We're just not going to be happy. We don't choose the vibration that we prefer to be in because of someone that may not like us or laugh at us, or we may feel stupid. So then you ask yourself, okay, well, so I'm stupid. What happens then? Take away my birthday? Who cares? Throw me in jail? Who cares? That must be where the power of the living God wants me. What can they actually do to you if you're honest about who you are and what you like to do? You know, the type of clothes you like to wear. You know, branch out, try new clothes, try new outfits, try new hairstyles. You know, don't be afraid. I run across so many people who are so afraid to shave their head. They're just freaked out on my head. They're like, I could never do that. I'm like, what? And their hair's all thinning and I'm like, you know, when I shaved my head the first time I did it for like 2 years, my hair grew back so thick. So I told these women, I'm like, oh my gosh, your hair's thinning. Really, just shave it. Like, keep it shaved for a while, like even a few months, and it grows back thicker. You know, it's kind of the basic, when you trim a tree, it grows back, you know. Anyway, but they're so scared of their hair. Their hair is their identity, right? Oh my gosh, people will laugh at me. And guess what? They're laughing at you anyway. You want to dye your hair black, red, orange, do it. You want to paint your eyebrows weird or dress like a wizard, not weird, but I mean, you have an idea for how you want to look, go for it. They're going to laugh at you. Yes. No matter what you wear, do, or say, someone's going to laugh at you and think you're stupid. Well, then what? So, oh, you think I'm stupid? That doesn't really mean anything to me, right? But our programs, we feel really bad. And so you find where that's at in your body. Just look at it. Don't give it a story and let it dissolve over and over, layer after layer. Okay. So, right. So it's out of alignment. You're out of alignment if you're not, if you feel bad, you're out of alignment. Okay. If information comes to you that makes you feel bad, you're out of alignment. And always remember all the time, if it's not a hell yeah, it's a no. Okay. If you have to think about something, consider it, call your psychic, roll the dice, pull a this, do a pendulum. Obviously, it's something you don't really want to do anyway. Because if it was a absolute yes and in alignment with what you really wanted to do, you wouldn't ask anybody or anything. You just do it. And no matter what the consequences or happen next, you would trust that that was meant to happen and meant to be in your life. Okay? Okay. All right. You can't be rejected by people you talk to. You can only be rejected. Right. So you can only be rejected by yourself. So, oh, I'm unworthy. I feel stupid. I feel like they're going to reject me. Well, how are they rejecting you? Because they don't want to hang out with you? Who cares? You want to just, you'll be okay if someone's just sitting in the room with you? Oh, I'm okay now. I can't sing. I can't dance. I can't stretch. I can't have the food I want. I can't have the music I want. You know, I can't do anything how I really want to do because they have an opinion on every single thing I do. And I call that a relationship, right? I lost my train of thought on that. About rejection, okay. Yeah, why are you rejecting yourself? Okay. Have you guys seen the new Matrix? Love it. Love it, love it. Okay. Right, how we look to ourselves. Showing us what is real. How it's interesting how we look, how we believe we look in linear time. Like I was homeless for 7 years, and 5 of it I lived in a vehicle, and it wasn't that I didn't have a concept of linear time, but I didn't really need to know it, and I didn't really live that way. I knew when Saturdays was because the people, you know, there's just a lot more people. But in general, I was out of linear time, and I didn't really even look in the mirror much. And so when I did look in the mirror, my face was different, right? So because I didn't hold a certain version of me, right? In linear time, I became something else, right? My looks started to change. And I don't mean just aging, you know, I mean, there was just different things that changed. So you know, that's what's an interesting thing about the new Matrix movie, you know, so you know, who we see ourselves, that our avatar, who we project ourselves to be, is based on our preference. And we learn our preference, so we pick that avatar, or several of them, you know, on our home planet or whatever. After this and what we create, we might create different personas, different genders, different whatever we want to experience being. And that's based on what we've tested and see here in this reality or construct, what we like, what we might enjoy. Okay, and then we know how we want to look or how we want our life to be and what we prefer. Okay, if you don't experience anything or let yourself find out what you prefer, follow your highest excitement because you don't want to offend somebody. You want them to be scared. I can't leave. They're not okay. They're addicts or they're this or that or they're suicidal or I can't be true to me because they won't be okay. So I'll wait till the day they're going to be okay, right? And then you're all old and fossilized and move around. Okay, so there's never going to be a right time to leave. Okay, you're never going to have a time where it's okay for you to leave them and then they're going to be okay. Okay, whenever you pull that band-aid off, they're going to react. Okay? That's their triggers, that's their emotion, that's their crap. Okay, and what you take oh, I'm sorry, it's my fault, because I was being true to me and you feel bad and I'm so sorry. And you constantly changing yourself to be make people around you more comfortable. Fine, but just know that you're consciously choosing that. Okay. Okay. I don't know where to. Don't be silly, Crystal. Be silly. All right, psychic divinity, magical tribes. Okay. So, what is your true beliefs? Finding your true beliefs. You can't choose something if you don't know you have a choice. Okay. So, first you must believe that you have a choice. Know that you have a choice. And then from knowing that you have a choice, choose. So many things. It's hard to think. Okay, well, if I do this or that, I could. Oh my gosh, I could end up homeless. I could end up alone. I could freeze to death. I could starve to death. Once you know all those moments, it ain't shit, as they say. No power over me. Yeah, I get down. I get down off and on. Because I'm trapped in a construct that I don't want to be in, and I feel sorry for myself. And then I go, oh, whoa, forgot that I am the magician. My thoughts create reality. I refocus on what I want. I refocus on conjuring up the reality I want. I'm just at a stopping off point. It's this or better. I'm going to the next level of what I want to create. If I, for 1 minute or 1 day or whatever, I'm wallowing in that I'm not happy and I can't create what I want, and I don't relate to these people or this world. It's so strange. And, the more I focus on that, the more I'm kind of sticky, still in the matrix of their construct. But the more I focus on the world I want, the more that world comes to me. And we're in New Earth energy. And so when I focus on that, I can bring it into focus. It's really hard some days, right? Because we still have traffic, we still have the medical system, the politicians. I'll spend $100 million on an ad to get a political job for, supposed to pay $30,000 a year, right? We just spent $10 billion on a telescope, but people are dying in the streets, right? Billions of dollars to everybody in the world, while Americans are laying in the streets or freezing to death in cars because we're not allowed to just build our own homes, right? Like most of us can just go and just build something to live in, and then put a heater in there, and we're built that way, right? We can get creative, but nope, you can't be here. You can't put a tent here. You can't build here. The forest belongs to the government. This place belongs to this person. That place belongs to this. Oh, and you own it. Okay, good. You did your work. You own your property. Now, how about we tax you and tax you and tax you, and then every move you make, we tax you again, okay? That's not a world that I want, but obviously it's something I wanted to experience because I'm in it. Now, that world is almost over from my perception. And some days when I'm like, look at it and I'm like, oh my God, it's still there, right? I don't have to live in it. They're side by side. So I look over here in the new earth and I create a new way. And I do that by refocus. Okay. I don't do that by wallowing in what isn't in their ways and going, oh my God. And some days I'm shocked because the things people say, if I didn't see it, then I would still stay focused on the reality I want to create. But what people are buying into, it shocks me sometimes. I mean, I have been I've been a psychic my whole life. I've talked to spirit my whole life. I've studied alternative medicine. I've known about, wars and how it really works, and politics and how it works. And like I was saying earlier, it's so shocking to me that people are okay with how much money goes into political ads and pharmaceutical ads and money to other countries for weapons and creating armies, and while the actual basic humanity starves and freezes and doesn't have a quality of life. Okay, and that system is going away. But sometimes I frustrate that, I've been waiting 51 years, but I forget I've been waiting 51 million years. So anyway, so there's some thoughts on that. Give yourself a break, okay? Be brave, okay? Aren't you worth it? Aren't your kids worth it? Is it humanity worth it? And what am I talking about? The truth, okay? If I offer you blueberries and strawberries, all right, and you love blueberries, But you think I want you to eat the strawberries and eat strawberries, you're going to get strawberries. I remember I was doing a reading on this gal, and I offered her, I had Coke and I had a seltzer or something, and she's like 22 or whatever, and she thought she was fat, and so she took the seltzer, and she had a couple drinks, she didn't really like it. And I was doing the reading, and I was talking about this stuff of preference stuff too, and I said, you don't really like that, do you? And she's like, no. And I said, well, why did you choose it? And she said, well, because I think I'm fat, and it'd be healthier for me than the Coke. I said, all right, well, I'm going to get you a Coke. And then I got her a Coke, and then she's all happy, right? So she didn't choose what she preferred, okay? So you go, okay, well, what's healthier, what's not? Well, for number one, it's your belief system, right? So if you choose what you don't prefer because of something someone else believes, if you choose it over what you actually believe, okay? But if you don't actually believe something is bad for you, it's not. And you can think that's ridiculous. I don't even care. But if you over and over choose what you don't prefer because you think it's better for you, or someone else will like you, or you're too fat, or you're too ugly, or that ain't gonna look good in this and that, or ain't gonna, to who, right? It's just a meat suit anyway, right? And we do not die. Every time you feed into or you give over to someone else's version of you, you let them tell you, I thought better of you. Come on, you're smarter than that. Don't you want to be successful? You know? And then school, right? Can't stand it. Never could stand it. School dumbs you down, okay? Whether it's kindergarten, grade school, college, dumb. Dumb to me. Okay. For example, when I went to forestry college, and they taught me like 12 indicator plants on the forest floor, right, to tell what it would be like 100-year growth, blah blah blah. I learned like 100 and wrote a book about 100 the medicinal edible plants. I looked into every scientific name and then their alkaloids, alkalines, all the different properties. I wanted to learn. I was so interested in it, right? But if I go to the lectures, I got to dumb down, right? Or in high school, I hated it. Okay, we learned stupid stuff to pass tests. I like to dive in. Like when I want to learn a topic, I just want to study documents. I want to study interviews. I want to read books about it. I want to channel information. I want to talk to spirit. I want to bring it all in. Okay, I don't want to be held back by the school system. Okay, you got one teacher up there who's not as smart as the children, because the children come in upgraded. So you let them be. Just guide them, right? Don't abuse them. Don't hurt them. Don't be, you got to learn this. You got to learn this way. Don't space off, right? When the child's like quantum, like me, I couldn't listen to a lecture like at school. I just, right? But if I was studying something else or writing a story or drawing, if I did several things at once, I'd really digest what they were saying, right? But otherwise, it was boring to me. It's not interesting, okay? So can school be interesting? Yeah, but I think that kids only need to be taught like reading and writing and just the basics, and then left alone. Just, oh, you're interested in gaming? Okay. Then they're going to learn math. They're going to read the manuals. They're going to study. They're going to learn a lot by what they're interested in, okay? They're going to learn submission and rejection and unworthiness by being forced some curriculum someone else chooses for them, taught by some teacher that's dumber than them, okay? Anyway, so there's that little rant. Okay, let's make a wish. I wish you the best year ever. I wish you love, 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 all the good food and laughter and abundance and money and joy. And are you trying not to cuss, Crystal? Yeah. Okay. And for fuck's sake, be yourself. Choose you. What could possibly hurt you if you just say, no, I don't like that. No, I don't want that. No, I don't want you in my life. No, you can't talk to me that way. No, you can't treat me that way. Oh, you'll feel better if you can treat me that way? Fuck the fuck off. And so it is. All righty then. Be your true self. Honor yourself. Be honest with yourself. Don't have people in your life that you have to be fake and phony around where you're suppressing any part of yourself. Okay? All right. Many blessings to you. All right. I love you. case you didn't know.